Hey guys, Savage Warrior here, bringing you some Boom Beach, and today some strategy and tips on warrior walking lines. Getting right into this is a player base. Warriors tend to like to run in a 45-degree angle. They run flat on a vertical angle as well as a horizontal line. They will do everything in their power to try to get into those lines, so I want to show you that so you can keep that in mind when trying to figure out the paths. Now, if we draw a line all the way down to the bottom, that's going to kind of show you kind of a measurement of where you want to start landing and beaching your warriors here. So let's show you an example where I flare directly to the HQ and watch what happens. The warriors tend to walk in a very wide walking space, which isn't always the ideal situation. So instead, let's flare to the ground in an open space right there that I made. And notice that just like Zukas, when you flare to the ground, they walk in a more narrow path. So that's typically more ideal situation for a lot of cases. Taking a look at my own base here, what I want to show you is that notice an HQ actually has 5 tiles. That means when you flare to the HQ, it's going to want to run in the line of that middle tile right there. Taking a look at the machine gun, all structures take 3 tiles. So know that when warrior starts walking around, or which direction the warriors are going to go. Are they going to go left? Are they going to go right? Well, if you know that, maybe that's going to help you a little bit. And then notice on my base here, I have a little bit off-centered. Why? Because when people attack me, that line is not at a perfect 45-degree angle. Going over to elbow room, this is an NPC base. Let's try to figure out the lines a lot tighter than typical bases. This is very typical with all the other like resource bases, and I'll show you a little bit of that later. But generally, the warriors like to run in lines of 3, sometimes 4, but there's not a lot you can do about that. So remember when I showed you that HQ had 5 tiles. So if we go down, it's almost going to be that machine gun right there. So let's draw the lines here. The warriors are going to run right there in this line right here on top, and then circle around the HQ. And then the other warriors are going to go the other direction. But there's a third line. The third line, they're going to go around the bottom right there and sneak around. So that way you'll be able to anticipate and smoke, hopefully, and cover as many warriors as possible without any damage at all. I'm going to show you a little trick here. I'm going to show you again later exactly how you do that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to double flare on the beach. And what that does is it groups up the warriors a little bit. It's not necessary on this base, but I'm just going to show you it anyway. So smoking the war, I'm going to flare right up there. And then I'm going to flare back and bring back the troops. And they come into a little tighter ball. And the reason I show you on this is because sometimes when you have so many structures right there on the beach, you need to be really tight. So looking at our lines, just like we predicted, they take those 3 lines and then circle around the back. And then we went up there without any damage whatsoever. So when you have a far distance to run, what you have to do is in your mind, you have to draw a line from point A to point B. Now the question is are they going to go up or down, left or right? See, that's why you got to take a look at that line, because if it's not running exactly at a 45-degree angle, then warriors tend to want to self-correct as soon as possible. So in this case, where this line isn't exactly a 45-degree angle, they're going to want to self-correct as quickly as possible and go up, in my prediction. That flamethrower right there is really dangerous, so that's why you got to make sure that you smoke in the right line right off the bat, because it's going to set the precedence of where the warriors are going to run through all these structures. So, let's draw out kind of like a pattern here. Remember, warriors run in generally a 3-line spread, and sometimes a 4th, but you can't do much about that. But how are these warriors going to run around all these structures, okay? So there's a small little channel right there that obviously they're going to run. They're going to run around that. And let's look up on the top closer to the base. They're going to want to go right around that and go around maybe around that flamethrower. So let's go ahead and test this theory. Let's throw down 2 smokes and let's go ahead and flare directly to the sniper tower and have a safe little landing, and then see what our line is going to be. Now, smoking up a little bit to the right because I predict they're going to go up, right? Let's go ahead and flare, and exactly like I was saying, they're going to go up, and then let's try to hit those lines as widespread as possible. Just remember, the closer that you smoke together, the more it's going to cover, just because it's a circle diameter. Now here's a little resource base that I have this unspoken truce with. I let him have it, and he lets me screw around and test stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to flare to the structure, and let's watch what happens when you unleash the warriors. They are just going to spread as wide as possible, and of course, guys, that doesn't work. So let's get out of here and let's try something different. So here's a little trick. One thing that you can do is you can flare up above right there to bring your troops together, and then flare back, and what that's going to do is it's going to group them up right there in a straighter line so that you can take it up to wherever your location is. It's really great when you have a lot of defensive structures right on the beach, so it works really well. This NPC base is really easy. Obviously, you can see your 3 lines right here. So I'm just going to show this to you to reinforce what we were talking about in review. I want to let all of you guys know that all of this is just kind of theory. I can make all sorts of videos to show how right I am about this, that, or the other. But in fact, you know, I still don't know. So, you know, I welcome your feedback and comments, and I really want to know because I'm trying to learn this myself too. And one of the things I've been doing is working on Zookas, and I've noticed that the way they walk and stuff has really improved my ability to play warriors. I think that a lot of the strategy of how troops walk in general is really going to help you with most troop types, for the exception of probably Scorchers. Even Grenadiers, I've seen some really good guys use Grenadiers, and it's pretty amazing, but they tend to run the same lines, and they're also just as quick as Warriors because they tend to run really, really fast. And then if you bring one boat of medics behind them, it is just evil on the damage that they can really do. So anyway, leave your comments and feedback because, again, I'm still learning. The walking paths is very unpredictable, but you know, that's part of the game that makes it really fun. At level 61, this base is slightly iced, so that means that the health and the damage that the structures do, which are most likely all maxed out, are going to hit your warriors a little bit harder. Now, at VP 893, one thing I wanted to mention is, you know, just because you might be a low level and high VP doesn't mean that your warriors are any much worse than his, because if you have pretty good statues, there is no difference between his warriors and your warriors. The only thing that makes a difference is your skill. And so, you know, when you come up on hard bases, it's really important that you never give up, because actually I've seen that even though you have really good troops and all maxed out, the best statues, if you don't know how to actually do some of these tricks and strategies, you ain't ever going to take a base, even though you powder up and are boosted or whatever. So, you know, whenever I see a really hard base, I take it as a challenge just to improve my skills, or if it's something I've already done, it's like sharpening my knives and my skills, and that's the way that I approach all these bases. I'm not at 900 yet, but soon I'll get there. I'm not ready to go to VP 1000 yet. It would take a lot of dedication and time, and frankly, I don't feel like my skills are that good enough yet. I gotta learn Zookas, I gotta learn Hookahs, I gotta learn Grenadiers, I gotta learn like Scorchers and Zooka combo, which I think is very powerful. So anyway, until then, I'm going to enjoy Warriors, and while I do that, I hope you guys can enjoy these videos as well. Always leave feedback and comment. That helps me make these videos better, and I really appreciate you guys watching and subscribing. And until next time, I'll see you on the next video, or I'm also on the forums as well. Until next time, aloha.